This is Orsi, official old guy at oldguytalkstome.com, a podcast dedicated to helping older guys create kick-ass lives for themselves and those that they love. It's for women too. Each week, I bring you a special guest to help you create that life that you imagine for yourself and those that you love. We talk anti-aging medicine, personal growth, relationships, and sex, vices, and other topics that many don't want to talk about but need to. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to be old. Also, if you want to know 3 ways to get laid more frequently without begging, go to oldguytalks.com and opt in. When you do, you're going to get my informative video on 3 simple things you can do to get laid more frequently without begging, so you don't have to turn in your man card. And ladies, you may want your man to know these things, because I think you'll like them too. Additionally, you'll be notified weekly when a new podcast episode is ready for you to consume. Periodically, I will share with you other stuff that will help you create that life that you want for yourself and those that are important to you. Don't want to miss anything? Be sure to subscribe, share, and review this podcast. This is part 2 of a 2-part series with Arnie Fonseca, who helps people conquer the Grand Canyon. And be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review this podcast. So Arnie, tell us a little bit about, you have this program that you run, and I think it's we want to spend a little time talk about Epic Adventure and how'd you get started on that, and just tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Epic, it actually came about as a COVID kind of thing. We since we couldn't do workshops and whatnot, and so I was in a mastermind group, and we were just talking about things that we like to do and enjoy. And I've always competed and done things, and so one of my passions today is doing big things like the Grand Canyon, hiking through the Grand Canyon. And I started doing that in 2014. I was 54 years old, and when I first started doing that, 55, and I thought, wow, this place is amazing. And then from there, I started to do other things and climbing some big mountains in California and just doing some really epic things. And so somebody said, well, Arnie, why don't you reach out to some of these companies and as they're coming out of COVID, create some really cool events that they could go do together as a team, as a group, and kind of bring them back together. And I said, wow, I thought about it, because I'd been told before, hey, Arnie, why don't you coach people on the Grand Canyon? I said, it's so complicated, there's so many moving pieces. So I thought about it. I talked to a friend of mine in Wisconsin, and we said, okay, let's do this. And it's a work in progress, but here's what's come out of it, Oris. My passion for fitness and health is still first, because so many people I run into, when I bring this up to them, they see it, they go, oh, I wish I could do that. I can't do that kind of stuff anymore. So what I started doing is creating some fitness programs around it now. And so now I've started a boot camp in the morning. I'm reaching out to executives and individuals all over the country and saying, hey, look, I'd like to help you recapture those health and fitness goals in 2021 that you may have let go in the last year or so, because there are so many things we can do now to bulletproof our health, that we can bulletproof whether it's those knees or hips or lower backs or necks, and in general, so that we don't go through what we just went through for the last year and a half. And so my passion has become let's get people healthy again, because when you're healthy, now you can do epic things like the Grand Canyon. Now you can go on big hikes. Now you can spend time with your family and friends because you have the energy. And, how many people or our age can't get on the ground and play with their grandkids because their knees hurt, their back hurt, or they don't have the energy for it. So there they are sitting in a chair watching their little kids playing on the ground. I get on the ground. I'm rolling on the ground with them and playing because I can. And I'm going to keep doing that for as long as I can, until they have to freaking drag me off that floor. And I want people to have that same feeling. We've all been in those gatherings of family members where, all the older people are sitting on a chair watching little kids play on the floor because they can't get their butts on the floor anymore because they're afraid to get up. I have a client who's 75, he's a former doctor. And one of the things we work on is getting off the ground. because I never want him to feel trapped on the ground. I want him to be feeling, if he wants to get on the ground, he can, and get up. Mm-hmm. And so Epic Adventures has become a lot of different things: epic training, epic nutrition, just an epic lifestyle. Because I want you to do big things. When I took my friend who was 30 years old, came from Wisconsin, and last weekend I took him and this other guy who was supposedly in better shape. I took them on a rim to rim adventure in the Grand Canyon. That's about 47 miles. And we started at 9 o'clock at night, Boris, on Friday, and we finished Saturday evening at 6:30. And he went through some of the most amazing highs and amazing lows he could ever imagine. And it changed his life. It really changed both their lives, because the one gentleman who was kind of a fitness guy, he realized, man, I'm not ready for this kind of stuff. And a lot of guys that are very fit, Boris, they look at something like the Grand Canyon and it becomes a bucket list thing, because they don't want to go back there because it's scary. When you're down in a big canyon like that, and you have to get out. There's no, I'll think about it. No. And it scares them, Boris. I've been with people, it scares them. But isn't that what life's about? What are you going to do today? That's a great question for you to ask. What are you going to do today that's going to scare the crap out of you? How's that? That'll keep you on your toes, won't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's kind of what Epic Adventures is about: doing big things, doing great things. But you got to be ready for it. So I want to help you get ready for it. I want to take away the excuses of, hey, I'm too fat. I've got 3 guys right now, Boris. 3. They're in the middle of losing 100 to 200 pounds.
Wow!
So they can do this.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's nice that they got something to look forward to, because you really do need to have something to look forward to. It's kind of it. I mean, I've done it, and I still do it, where I train without anything in particular event. But it's nice to have something to train for, because it gives you more.
But it's who we are, though. Or you can do that because you've done it for so long. So can I. But these folks can't. They need something.
Yeah. They need a goal and objective. Yeah, I know that I've been on 3 major hikes in my life. One was Kilimanjaro.
Oh wow, that's on my list, man.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it, because there's some things you need to know that are not. Well, they're in some books and they're not in others. And I had a friend of mine that went for about 3 or 4 years ago, and he was saying, "Oh my gosh, you were so right. Thank you. I was so prepared as compared to some of the other people in my party, which were really sucking."
Sure.
And you can appreciate, because you live up in Squaw Peak. When I was training for Kilimanjaro, I was able to go up and down Squaw Peak 3 times in the summer.
Wow.
We actually summited on July 4th at Kilimanjaro. So we were training through the summer, and that was like, 3 times in a row, up and down, up and down, up and down. So I was pretty well ready.
Not many people can do that.
Something like that. It's
not many can do that.
It was. Yeah, there's a few of them out there, though. There's a few of them out there that do it every day. You see them out there in Squaw Peak.
I know.
I think there's a guy with American that runs up and down with an American flag.
Oh yeah, I've met him.
Yeah. So he's like, it's not enough that you go up and down. You got to carry a flag with you.
I know.
It's pretty amazing. Did you know that there are 76 additives that have been approved by the FDA that can be added to wines? You want a wine with shit in it that may not be good for you? Well, there is an option for wines that have been produced naturally, organically, that have been tested, that have no sugar. And when they don't have any sugar, that means that they're ketosis and intermittent fasting friendly. These wines have been produced with a great deal of care on small farms and are available to you. How do you get them? Find out by going to www.oldguytalks.com/dry farms. Dry farms, all one word with an S, and find out more. And with your initial order, you can get a bottle for 1 penny. That's right, a bottle for 1 penny. And They taste great. They taste great. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't procrastinate. Get those wines now. Pretty amazing. So what is, let's talk a little bit about the highs and the lows when somebody's doing something like that, because you get to a point where actually you don't have a choice. You gotta go. I remember we were in part of the training. We climbed Mount Humphreys in Flagstaff, and we got off the trail. Apparently, it was between in May. There was still a lot of snow. It's a terrible trail. We were off the trail.
It's a horrible trail.
Yeah. And next thing we know, we were looking at our time and everything, and we realized that we were lost, and so we went through the brush on all fours. Up, I don't know how many. I mean, it was like we were a couple hours on all fours, and got to that saddle area before you get over to the peak.
Yeah.
And we looked at the time, and we said, like, there's no way we're going to get there and back and still be light. And so it was part of, when you said, talk about being prepared, you got to be prepared for stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then on the way down, we realized that snow was going to turn into ice as soon as it got dark.
Yeah.
And we came down the ski slope. We came down the snow bowl. Yeah, that's what. So because we hiked over there because we knew that's where we could get down, and it would take us into the parking lot. And so but we realized all of a sudden this snow that's nice and soft to walk on will be ice in about an hour. So we started running down. That was a wild adventure. But the preparation, the lows. Talk about the lows and how people work their way through those.
One of the things I teach is we go through 4 stages when we do something epic like that. And it doesn't have to be physical, but we'll stay with the physical part of it right now. You go through 4 stages. I've gone through it. You may have gone through it, but a lot of people go through it. The first stage is the physical stage. Your body just becomes exhausted. And that could be your low. Or we're on our way to our low period. I'm exhausted. Okay. And you're going, and then you get into the mental stage, which is, this doesn't make any sense. Why am I even doing this? This is dumb. I'm tired. This is stupid. Who does this? Who climbs Squaw Peak 3 times in the heat? Who goes on their hands and knees crawling through brush to get to a top of a stupid mountain? Who does this kind of stuff? This is dumb. So you go through now you've pretty much hit the bottom. We're right near the bottom. And then when you get right at the bottom, your brain you get very emotional, Horace. And I've done it where out in the desert in the middle of the night, you're literally crying. You're emotionally exhausted because you're letting yourself down. You're letting others down. You told people you're going to do this. You're training for it. You're competing. You're in it. And you're just emotionally drained, and you literally will cry because because you failed. You have failed. And that it's at that point that I tell people, just hang in. Just hang in just a little while longer, because if you do, you'll be part of the top 2, 3, 4% of people that when they persevere right there, you will experience that second wind they call. You will experience that all of a sudden your body will come out of nowhere, and you will have energy. You will have determination that you never would have believed. And I've done it. I've coached guys through it. And it is the most exhilarating feeling on the planet when you can do it. But you can only get there by hitting that bottom. And that's that real low. When I looked at his name is Kevin, last Saturday morning, it was about 7:30 in the morning. He was going through some severe pain. Severe. And he was offered a free ride around. Somebody gave him a way out. And I just listened. And then I pulled him aside at the north rim of the Grand Canyon. I said, come here. And I told you there was going to be a point in this journey that I was going to look in the eye and tell you exactly what I'm going to tell you right now. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And he looked at me and goes, I don't want to quit. Okay. So what does that mean? I'm going to finish this thing. Good. Then let's get going. And so, but I knew he was hurting, Norris. I knew he was in a lot of pain. Now, granted, if somebody's got a broken leg or somebody's got something severe gone, but I didn't see that. Okay. And
Right.
I figured I still had a window of time that I could help him through some of this. I figured I was going to give myself about 1.5 miles, and then he could come back up with the other guy that was with him, and they'd get a free ride around, and I would continue on the journey. Okay. And in that 1.5 miles, he started figuring stuff out. And then when we got closer to the bottom, he was running. I had to slow him down. Now, it didn't mean he was in less pain, but he was figuring stuff out. We got to Phantom Ranch. He looked at me and he goes, it's not, I kept asking, how you feeling? He goes, well, I'm still hurting, but I'm going to finish this thing. I said, good. And then when we got up on Bright Angel, coming up 10 miles up Bright Angel, it clicked. He hit that second wind, and all of a sudden he was pushing me. And until his body finally gave out about 1.5 miles from the top, and he cramped out. But I said, you're okay. You've done amazingly well. I'm so proud of you. And he worked through that little cramp, and then his mind started playing with him again, because he goes, it's not 1 mile. It's more than 1 mile. I go, no, it's right there. We're going right there. It's less than 1 mile. And so, but it changed his life, because he knows that there's nothing he can't do right now physically. Nothing. Yeah. But you got to get there. You got to get there, Oris. Most people take the ride. Most people would have taken the ride.
Yeah, no, it's a challenge, and in a lot of ways it determines who you are. And if you do take the ride, you have a lot of guilt about it.
Oh man, we were talking about that when we got back to my house. We stayed over in Flagstaff, and we were talking. I said, it's funny, if you would have taken that ride, your brain would have came up with all the reasons for the ride. You would have had scheduled doctor's appointments. You would have done everything you can to justify why you had to take the ride. And you know what he told me?
Yeah.
Because I asked him how you feel. He goes, my knee doesn't even hurt today.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that something?
Pretty amazing.
It is amazing.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Arnie, I really appreciate you coming on the program and talking. And if somebody wanted to work with you, tell us a little bit about how to get in touch with you and some of the programs that you have, because I know you got a number of different things outside of Epic Adventures that you work. So why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the things that opportunities people have to work with you?
Well, again, Oris, I appreciate you reaching out to me and making this work on a busy weekend. And so the best way, I'm old fashioned. The best way is just give me a phone call. And I like when my phone rings. And so I'm going to just give you my phone number. It's 602-390-9144. You can text me or call me. I answer and I respond really quickly. If I'm with somebody, as soon as I get a break, I will call you or text you back, and we'll set up a time to talk. You can also Google me, Arnie Fonseca Jr., and lots of things will come up. The one website that I am using right now is epicadventure.info, epicadventure.info. We're working on some new things right now. We're putting up some new videos up there as well. But we're also, like I said, we're working on some new programs. So we kind of took things down, and we're going to rebuild a little bit here. But the phone is the best way to get a hold of me. Oris, I appreciate anybody that wants to give me a call. I will get back to you. And believe me, I'll get back to you.
All right, Arnie. Well, thank you very much. It's great, as always, talking with you and getting your perspective on these epic adventures, because that's what makes us alive. That's what makes us all excited. So,
and Oris, I want to say thank you, Oris, because you're doing things for men that really needs to be done. I mean, you do it with humor and with joy. And I appreciate that. That's how I kind of ran into you. I go, I love this guy's attitude, because there's no reason as we get older that we have to be, boring and sticks in the mud. We can have some fun and we can still chase the girls around and have fun with it but still be men. And Oris, I want to thank you for that. And also obviously for this opportunity to be here with your audience. Because I appreciate what you're doing as well.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Arnie. And we'll have to have you on another time. We can talk about some other stuff.
Yeah.
This is Oris, the official old guy at oldguytalkstome.com. Remember, it's all about creating a kick-ass life for yourself and those that you love. Until next time. Thanks for joining me on this podcast. If you like what you heard and learned, then be sure to do 3 things. 1, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. 2, share this with someone who may need to hear it also, and it may be your significant other. And 3, review it. Give me a good review. If you didn't like it, give me a bad review. I don't care. Just review me. And be sure to get my free video on 3 ways to get laid more frequently without begging. Opt in at oldguytalks.com. Don't be that guy that just takes in the information. Take action. Without action, you're not going to get the results you want.